Hey there, my name's Maddie. I'm here with my friend Spencer today, and we're going to be doing a guided hike at Sandy Creek Nature Center. Come on, let's go. Hey guys, it's me, Maddie, again. So we're stopped at this pine tree. This is a shortleaf pine right here. That's relevant, but basically what we're going to be talking about today is how humans, as humans, we have to collaborate with nature. So, let's say Spencer and I were thinking about building a house out here. This tree looks pretty nice to cut down. What we would have to think about the potential impacts, right? So maybe, a squirrel lives in this tree. I don't know many squirrels around here, but there's a vulture flying around. Maybe the vulture also lives in that tree. So as humans, when we take resources, we have to take them in a responsible way, because as animals, we interact with our ecosystem, and we have to ensure that that balance stays as formidable as possible. All right, let's keep going. So we're stopped at our first stop along the path. We've got some blackberry shrubs over here, as well as some other sweet gum saplings. And we're going to discuss a little bit about Native Americans. So, we all know before Europeans came here, this was Native American land. And obviously, I'm not Native American. I don't have Native American descent, so I'm just trying to educate you all. I'm not trying to tell their story through my lens. I'm trying to tell their story through their lens. So, a long time ago, the Creek natives lived here, and they viewed nature as a really important spiritual part of their culture. So every year they had a few ceremonies. One of the specific big ceremonies was called the Green Corn Ceremony. So what they would do is they would harvest all of their corn when it was ready to harvest, and they would fast. And this was kind of like a spiritual renewing of each other, and they were learning to appreciate nature and appreciate what it had to offer. It's kind of like New Year's resolutions in a way. And I think there's a lot we can learn from that. So, additionally, they also hunted and gathered. They would have gathered these blackberries right here and eaten them during the summer, which is really cool. So as, something as a learning lesson from them is humans now, we're not really good about seeing nature and seeing the earth as this spiritual. So as I was saying, in a spiritual sense, there's a lot we can learn from Native Americans. They valued earth as this, mother-like figure, because the earth provides for us. And I think that's something that we can learn. For example, you could even go in your backyard and maybe pick up foraging. It's really cool, and I think it really connects you to the earth, and you're getting your own food, your own resources. Something else that we can practice is even balance within ourselves. So, meditation, religious practices, self-care even is a great way to find balance within yourself and also find balance within the natural world. Let's keep going. Hey guys, look over here, check this out. Super cool little thing that we found here growing on this tree. So these are false turkey tail fungi. If you look closely, you can see they kind of make this shelf along the bark. So there's other fungi similar to this. There's turkey tail, hen's tail, and they all are called shelf fungi because they create that shelf. And fungi are really cool. They actually decompose fallen trees or other dead material. So you'll see them on trees that have fallen over. You'll see them kind of in leaf litter sometimes. You'll also see them after it rains, because that's how the spores are dispersed, is through water. So it's a pretty cool little thing that we see here. Let's keep going.
Alright, hi guys, my name's Spencer, and right here in front of me is a Joro spider. Now, this thing's an invasive species from Japan, and they made all their way from the western United States to here in Georgia. Now we gotta take this thing out because it's eating all the native plants and stuff.
Don't kill it, Spencer, no! So we just heard Spencer talk about some invasive species, Chinese privet, the Joro spider. There's some other ones that we will, maybe mention later down the trail, English ivy. All of these are called invasive species. Now, what is an invasive species? It's a great question. Invasive species are organisms, so plants and animals that come to an area where they weren't originally from. So they're introduced to a new area, and invasive specifically means that they compete with other native species for resources. So, for example, the Chinese privet might outcompete some of these smaller shrubs like this holly, or maybe even some of the trees over here, the hardwoods, and those hardwoods may be producing resources for other animals or plants. So by outcompeting this specific resource, it's kind of inching its way into the ecosystem, disrupting the whole cycle. So there's some good practices out there. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's go down the stream, see what we can find. Oh, hey, forgot you guys were over there. I got excited about the river. So I'm actually over here down at a stream that converges into the North Oconee River. Why is the North Oconee River important, you might ask? It's just a river, it's brown and dirty and gross. We don't like it, it stinks. Well, you might not know, but our water actually comes from the North Oconee River. Our water comes from 3 different sources here in Athens, Clarke County. It comes from the North Oconee River, the Middle Oconee River, and Bear Creek Reservoir. And what happens is all of this water gets cleaned and filtered and then enters the water system, the septic system, and we turn on the tap and we get fresh water. Pretty awesome. Well, since we get our water from here, let's say, just theoretically, let's say maybe I'm fertilizing my lawn and I just decide to over fertilize it. I want it really green, really lush. Well, maybe I live right here and all the remaining fertilizer ends up in this stream. What happens to the stream? Well, some of these organisms that live in the stream might not be able to handle those chemicals. There could be eutrophication, which is growth of algae. There could be all sorts of different things happening to the ecosystem. And we want to keep this ecosystem specifically healthy because we actually get our resources from it. One way that you can monitor stream health is you can actually look for critters, which is my favorite way to monitor stream health. So if you want to come over here, I'll show you how I look for critters. And just a disclaimer beforehand, we want to be really careful and we want to minimize the physical impacts that we're doing to the stream. So be very careful if you do this at home, but this is a perfect example. So right here we have a stick. You might think it's just a stick, but it could be a house for an organism. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up this stick and look underneath it and just look for little critters, because there's all sorts of stuff that would live over here. I don't see anything right now. We could lift up some other things. There's lots of leaf litter and soft soil. You could play in the mud and dig, but we do want to remember to always put sticks, logs, leaf litter, dirt back where we found it, because that is somebody's home. Yeah, let's keep moving. Hey guys, we're a little bit further down the trail and look, we can see the North Oconee River. Super cool. So we're here at this stream, and I bet if we came here in the summer, maybe the earlier fall, we would see a lot of amphibians, frogs, toads, salamanders, lots of different organisms that live around this floodplain area. So I mentioned frogs and salamanders. They're really important ecosystem indicators. And what that means is by just seeing them, that indicates that the stream is healthy. Why is that, you might ask? Well, I don't know if you've ever touched a frog or a salamander, but they're kind of slimy. They kind of have this like porous skin, and that allows them to absorb water and oxygen. So they actually breathe through their skin, which is really neat. But it means they're more susceptible to chemicals in their habitat. So let's say, you know, the fertilizer runs downstream and maybe there's a little leopard frog, and he's hanging out. His skin is going to absorb all of those chemicals, and you know, that's not really good for him. So we want to make sure that we keep our streams healthy and clean, and also our rivers healthy and clean, so we can get fresh water. Let's keep going.
Hey guys, it's me again. Now whoever wrote their initials KT on here was clearly not thinking about their actions on how it's affecting this tree right here. Well, for starters, if they were to carve on the bark of the tree, they're letting nutrients of the tree not be able to be absorbed as much. In addition to that, they're allowing other insects such as ants to get inside the tree more, and they could potentially harm the tree. Or better, or worse yet, even termites could get in here and start eating the whole tree up. So we talked about Joro spiders, Chinese privets, and name carvings on trees, and all of those are a result of human actions, and the way we affect our ecosystem is going to affect us eventually.
All right, so we've ended our walk. I just wanted to say a few things before you guys leave. First of all, I really appreciate your time watching this video or walking with us. It was really fun to make, and me and Spencer, you know, we're nature nerds, so we just love being out here in nature. But I hope you learned some things as well. You know, we need to collaborate with nature. We need to be part of the ecosystem. When we're taking resources, we need to make sure that we're taking them in a responsible manner. So we can do some of these things. We can learn from Native Americans how they took resources responsibly. We can monitor our stream quality in the backyard and make sure that our water stays healthy. We can even look out for different invasive species and try to do as much as we can to remove them and to protect our native species. These are all awesome techniques that you can learn. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. We love nature.
Yes, we do.